Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and today I would like to share with you guys a really cool product that was lent in by my supervisor at work. This is a work sharpening system. I do want to apologize if you guys hear any weird creaking noises. It's a super windy day and my garage door is right freaking there, so it's gonna make some noises. Just bear with me. But I've been on record for loving my Wicked Edge sharpening system, but the number one thing about the Wicked Edge is that it is stupid expensive. The price doesn't make sense, but now that I've had it for so many years, I've been using the same sharpening system for about 7 years now. I love the thing. I've come to be completely reliant on its design, and it's really the only knife sharpening system design that I'm comfortable with using. So having something like this is going to take me out of my comfort zone. But a lot of the skills and tips and tricks that I've learned, or mistakes that have now turned into, oh hey, I should probably do it a little differently, I can implement, or should at least be able to implement, a lot of those things that I've learned into using this. Now, I have watched some videos already just to educate myself on this particular model right here. So there are different variations of it. There's higher, lower end. As far as I know, WorkSharp is a sharpening company that tries to bring the best value. They don't really have anything that is so stupidly bougie that it doesn't make sense. Their whole product line seems to actually make sense and fall in line with what I would think is good value. And that's important because shit's expensive nowadays. And if you have a sharpening, or if you have a knife collection and you have a lot of sharpening to get done, is this something that'll satisfy? Chances are, yeah, but it's going to take a little bit of practice. There will be a learning curve. There is some danger involved. You're working with a sharp object and you're grinding something into it essentially. So just, let's have some common sense when, sharpening knives, right? Are you going to get the absolute most precise, pristine edges out of something like this? Maybe not this exact model because of the way that it's constructed, but I am sure there are more models that have less play and are potentially more rigid, which would eliminate any sort of movement that would cause weird marks on the edge. Now, I would consider myself a perfectionist, or at least I'd like to think of myself as a perfectionist when it comes to having really nice looking edges. Now, don't get me wrong, if you have just a handful of knives in your collection and you love using them, you take them to work, you beat on them, you get chips and rolls all day long, and it's just something that happens often, and you don't have any like super high-end knives that you want a perfect edge on, this is probably going to be something for you, where you just want to be able to put a quick functional edge. For functionality, that's all that matters. Visuals, not so much. As long as it gets the job done, that's it. As long as it, slices through paper, shaves a little bit of hair, goes through some cardboard boxes from Amazon. As long as it gets all those tasks done, that's all you need it to do. So it's something that I've heard many times from other content creators sharing and giving their thoughts on WorkSharp and what is able to be accomplished with this. Facts are facts. No edge is going to be the same. You cannot get a perfect edge on a Wicked Edge. You cannot get the same results of something like this. Functionally speaking, they could be pretty damn close. So that's where you gotta be like, do I want it to look good and perform, or do I just want it to perform? And if all you care about is performance, then something like this is probably all you really need. And for what this thing costs, I believe it's well under $100. It seems like a pretty sweet deal to me. So I'm gonna go ahead, open this up, set it up. I haven't gotten into it yet, but I did watch a little tutorial video to slap it all together. And we're actually going to be sharpening this right here, Pyrite Light. This thing gets used and abused. The edge is all rolled almost. There are a couple little microchips in it, but nothing crazy. This is AR RPM 9 blade material. It is on the softer side, but it's still pretty decent with edge retention, and of course corrosion resistance is a plus as well. But this is a wonderful knife to use. It's a, you know, it's a $35 freaking knife. Anybody could have something like this, and it could be your daily driver in the workplace or just day to day. If you EDC something like this, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as it gets the job done. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll be sharpening this on this. Alrighty, so this thing was ridiculously easy to set up. If anything, dare I say, this is easier to set up than the Wicked Edge. It seems a lot more straightforward, a lot less complicated. You know, yes, we are looking at completely different design and sharpening style, but as of right now, I'm impressed by a handful of things that the Wicked Edge does not have. In this clamp, and it's just held magnetically, there's these little slots that hold it in place, but this clamp, it's not metal directly onto the finish of your blade. They're rubberized. Wicked Edge doesn't have that. I have to put stupid painter's tape on my system to not scratch up more delicate blade finishes. So that is a huge plus right there. I think that is excellent. As well as how simple it is to adjust the angle. Like, that's just, it's so intuitive. It just makes sense. Here you have the big ones, 15, 20, and 25, 30. This guy is at a 16 degree. Yeah, so this was sharpened at 16 degrees. This is a 16 degree edge on my Wicked Edge sharpening system. And what we can do to test accuracy, let me go ahead and get my Sharpie right here. So to be more specific, this isn't just like the base model. There is one that costs a little bit less than this, which only comes with like a tri-way stone. But this is actually the Elite upgrade kit. So it comes with a hard case and 3 stones over there, or 3 rods, excuse me. So we're gonna go ahead and just mark up the edge. And to me, this is going to be one of the biggest tests, and the thing to impress me the most is that if this could match the edge of my Wicked Edge sharpening system, I would very much be interested in buying one of these for myself. So let's go ahead and try this out. Well, let's get it in here first. It's so weird because like I'm so used to my sharpener or my blade sitting in the vise like this, and now it's like this, you know, and it's held in, you know, place, you know, decently enough. You push on the back, and then you can, you know, flop the knife to the other side. It's pretty easy. Just again, be careful. Utilize you know, common sense here. Let's go ahead and look at the rods that is offered with it. And may I add, this thing weighs freaking nothing, and it feels very, very sturdy. There are rubber feet, knurled rubber feet. And here it is on, you know, a silicone mat. But if I have it on my table's a little dusty, so you would expect for it to slide a little bit. Honestly, that's pretty firm. That's pretty planted firmly there. Let's look at these rods. Now there's even another one here. So either this was missing one, or this is just for an extra one or a custom one. I don't know. I'm sure this is how it is, but let's look at these guys. So there's these little O-ring stopper things, so you can change how far down so you don't slip out completely. I like that. I think that's cool. Wicked Edge does offer that, but it's a separate purchase. It does not come with it. This comes with it, which is awesome, as well as an extra one. I mean, why would there be 2? So it's really just an extra stopper. I don't really see them having too much wear and tear, but at least they thought of that, which is nice. It's really nice. Let's look at the grits that they offer. There is a 220. Does this just spin? Okay, yeah, just, oh, it's very, very loose. Oh yeah, it clicks in place. A little bit of side to side. Is there up and down? Yeah, the tiniest bit of up and down. It's really not that crazy. It is a little bit more than the up and down movement of, you know, my Wicked Edge system. So that's something I definitely noticed right there. I can't say that that's gonna cause too many problems, honestly. The biggest thing that I'm concerned about is how structurally rigid the blade is being held in the system. So that's going to be one of the biggest things I'll be testing. Yeah, so that one was a 220. This is a 320. I don't understand why it's not just regular, but then we have a 400. That's a little interesting. 400. I love 400 grit edges because they are very coarse and toothy and last a long time. If you actually use your knives, you're going to want a coarse, toothy edge so that it properly bites through whatever material you're trying to tackle at the moment. Anything past 800, I think, is stupid, pointless, a waste of time, and really just for visual flair. Believe it or not, there are people out there that charge, and there are people out there that pay hundreds of dollars to get gorgeous mirror polished edges to never use the damn knife. That's okay. They can do whatever the hell they want with their money, but facts are facts. It's a waste of time. If you have a knife and you're planning to actually use it, between 400 and 800, that is the sweet spot. And it's the most affordable spot and grit range to be in. So this is all just based off of my own experience. Here we have another one, and this is in even higher progression. We have 600, which this is very, that's interesting. It's very fine for a 600 grit. That's interesting. Here we have 800. Yeah, these are super fine stones. Like, they don't really feel that gritty to me. And then this is just a ceramic honing stone. I've never actually worked with any ceramic before. I've only ever done like leather stropping, but I've been wanting to get some ceramic into my maintenance routine, definitely. So I think this is gonna be fun. Let me look at that 220 again. Yeah, I mean, this 220 honestly feels like I want to say like a 400, like a fresh 400 from my Wicked Edge stones. So there is a difference in quality of, you know, the diamond stones here. Will I notice it when I go to sharpen? Maybe, potentially. We'll find out. And last but most definitely not least is this guy right here. This is just a little strop. Does it already have compound on it? I guess, maybe. I mean, I'm assuming that green stuff, because as far as I know, the inside of cows or cow skin or horse skin isn't green. It's just brown. So this probably has compound already on it, that's cool. Look at that. That is actually a rounded ceramic little stone right there. That's neat. That's not on anything else, is it? Nope, no it isn't, but that's all right. So that's cool. Nice little, you do really get a full kit here. This is sick. All right, let's set these guys off to the side. I already know my angle. So we're gonna start with the lowest one, 220. How would 220 feel? I have grits on my stones, and I can show you right here. This is all the stones that I use. So for the Wicked Edge sharpening system, you need 2 of each, but I'm obviously just grabbing the one to show you. So this is the lowest they go, 50 to 80. This is horrifyingly aggressive. This is a very dangerous stone. I've actually made a separate video just talking about this item itself, use with caution. It takes a long time to break in, but when it does, this thing still chews off a lot of material. So if you're into reprofiling your stuff, 50 to 80 grit stones do exist out there. Just be careful while using them, because they end up removing a lot pretty quickly. Then we have 100 to 200, and then 400, 600, and yeah. So it almost feels like the Work Sharp stones are like 200 grit above what they actually are, or maybe they're just sourcing their material to make their actual diamond plates. You know, maybe they're just a different source potentially. I don't know. But like I said, this is all I've ever known. So it does strike me a little odd when the lowest grit on this is a 220. I can't really see somebody doing a quick reprofiling job with a 220, because at 220, you're right here with the orange. You have also, you know, the 100, the 80, and the 50. So if you're going to be scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing with a 220, it's going to take you, you know, 5 times longer if you just used a 50 or 80 or even 100. You know, 100 is a great place to start with, but we're already starting at 220. That's, you know, just a little bit about halfway to the grit that we're going to be finishing at. So let's just see how this goes. Let me put this stuff, get it out of the way. I didn't mention the light blue is an 800, dark blue or purplish is 1,000 grit, and then I have my leather strops. Now these things are beat to hell, they really are, but they keep coming back for more. Look at how many chunks and scratches are all over them, but I still produce some of the best edges, and I keep getting better. So that was like 1 micron and then 0.5 micron, so super fine stuff to get, you know, essentially really high polished edges. But as you can see, my actual diamond stones stop at 1,000 grit. Wicked Edge does offer higher stones than that, but they are expensive, very expensive. Let's go ahead and get this in there. It's like a little magnet. That's it. It has a retention. All right, I mean, it's good. I can't see that, you know, going anywhere. That's nice. So I guess we could bring the little stopper a little further down, I guess. Sure, maybe a little further up, right about there. And then, yeah, that's good. I feel like that's a good place to be. Okay, a moment of truth. This thing is set at what should be, you know, 16 degrees, and let's see if this 220 stone right here removes only the Sharpie. Is this thing hitting the clamp? No, it has clearance, and this system goes down the lowest 15 degrees, so I'm really pushing the limit of the clearance on this. No freaking way. Are you freaking kidding me? That is incredible. Look at that. Wow. That is exactly a 16-degree edge. This matches what my overpriced $600-something freaking Wicked Edge system, you know, can angle at. And the range is the same. The Wicked Edge caps out at 15 for the lowest degree. This is also 15. Okay, this is cool. This is really cool. I'm gonna keep going at it. So at this point, I'm just gonna go a little bit. I'm gonna form a burr, flop to the other side, and then keep going. Holding this thing, so obviously you hold it one hand and then, you know, make passes with the other, trying to get a good angle here. But yeah, I mean, everything feels nice and contoured. There's no like weird sharp, you know, edges anywhere. It feels good. And you just, you know, pinch grip here. Just be careful not to have your fingers too low because you don't want to ride up on that edge. That, you know, bad day. So just go like this. So keep all fingers inside the ride. Getting to that tip, it is a little sketchy because you can definitely feel that you'll be falling off of it. And because of how wide, looking down at this rod here, or the actual holder for the stones, it's a lot wider than what these about 1/2 inch stones are. So you think that you're close to the edge, but you actually still have a little bit more to go. So that's a little learning curve thing. Just do your best not to roll off that edge, like roll and fall off that edge. You want to stay nice and on it. Dude, this thing is sick. And these are obviously fresh stones, so they can take a second. See, I fell off there. They can take a second to break in. This is a very, very common and normal thing. The grit that they are at now most likely will not be the same grit that they will feel at 20, 30 edges later. You know, they could be a little, I feel it, yeah. I definitely feel it. Oh, yeah. That's nice. All right, let's flip it. Yeah, I mean, there's little to no play. There's a tiniest bit of up and down, but I'm not cranking down on this thing. I'm just real light hand pressure. Let's start hitting this side. That is crazy. Yeah, I'm trying to stay light right out to that tip there. All right. Do I feel the new burr? Oh, it would be this side. Yeah, I'm a dumbass. Yeah, I feel it. I can go a little bit more down here. Again, this is something that's kind of throwing me off, is that it's hard to see where my edge actually terminates on the knife itself, because looking down at the stone, like, let me pull this out. Looking down at it, it looks like you have that much stone to work with, but in reality, you have that much stone to work with. So it's gonna take a second to get used to how that is and when you know you need to stop. So you're gonna have to keep, you know, scrub, check, scrub, check, to see that you're not going too far. Right-handed here, lefty. I mean, an ambidextrous sharpening system, yeah, sure. I never thought that. I never really critiqued that, but yeah, this thing works. Okay, set that stone off to the side. Yep. All right, let's, oh, hold on. I did it the wrong way. It's push and then go like this. Yeah, I definitely feel that burr. Now we can go up to 320. All right, so this video is already longer than it needs to be. I still got a little bit more to go. I'm gonna go through the progression. I'm gonna stop at the 400 because that's the edge that I'm trying to achieve. I don't want to, you know, use up these stones, but I do want to try this this honing rod for a second, and I'll probably leave I probably won't do the leather strop, only because I don't really think it's super necessary for this video. I want to stop at the ceramic honing rod. I think that'll be interesting. So I'll be back in just a sec. Alrighty, so I am finally done, and I lied. I actually went from the 400 to the 600, 800, and then finally the ceramic stone. And the ceramic stone was an absolute treat to use. There's no real specific reason why I didn't use the leather strop. I just don't feel like it's, you know, necessary. But if you are going to use a leather strop, because it is an organic material and it has some potential give to it, this one not so much. I can't really dig my nail into it and feel much squish. But typically if you're going to be using thick leather strops, you want to actually go from this is at a 16-degree edge, you want to go up to a 17, just so you don't roll over the actual I guess apex of the edge. At this point in time, I'd say that this edge is now complete, and let's go ahead and take a look at it. Immediately there were already some things that I could definitely see myself growing out of, just for having the sharpening system and using it for a long time, and you know, the learning curve kind of stuff. So one thing immediately is being able to tell when to stop. You don't want to go too far up to the tip and roll it over, but you don't want to go too far back and create a huge smile, or then scrape up your shouldering material over here. As you can see, this is all marked up because I went too far and I wasn't paying attention. Now, this is just a budget knife. It's not that really big of a deal. The edge itself, immediately I could see, once the ceramic stone started touching it, I could see just this huge change in tone of the actual edge itself. It went from a really dull look to something that is actually very nice looking. Now, the teeth are facing, you know, upwards, right? They're not curved back. And that's just kind of how most teeth are going to be formed, the actual apex of the edge on a sharpening system where you have to scrub, you know, to and fro. Let me go and get a little piece of paper right here and test this. I don't want to get something that's too thin. This is good. All right, moment of truth. Let's check that out. That is freaking incredible. I am genuinely blown away. Now, your results may vary, just because if you've never sharpened a knife before, there are a lot of things that you pick up on that you can't really explain, but if you know what I'm talking about, you'll know when to flip to the other side and to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and keep flipping it. And then you put less and less pressure each time, and it's more of like a really feathered motion to really knock off that burst. So once you go to the ceramic honing rod, or you use and finish off with a leather strop, you know that you've knocked off, you know, majority of the burr at that point, and you're just refining a fresh edge. But that is wonderful. Now, I will say that these stones, the diamond stones here, they're gonna take maybe, you know, 15 knives to really break in, right? This edge on AR RPM 9, even though I finished at 800 grit, this does not feel like an 800 grit edge. This actually feels somewhere around 600 grit, which makes sense. And kind of going back to what I said earlier about how potentially different manufacturers or different sources of diamond stones versus the Wicked Edge, and then here with the Work Sharp. But I proved to myself that the Wicked Edge is absolutely overinflated with price, because you can still get perfectly functional edges out of something like this. And I mean, this was first try. It didn't come out absolutely perfect, but I'm ready to go. If I want to go to work and have a nice fresh edge, I can do that. I'm gonna go ahead and reposition the camera so I can do some cardboard slicing, see how that feels. Okay, all right. So don't mind the mess. It's just kind of how my station looks. So let's go ahead and check this thing out. This is, I mean, it's double walled, but corrugated stuff, so it's not super, super heavy duty. Oh yeah. That's sweet. A little too shallow on that one. Yeah, it's a pretty sweet edge for something that took me, I don't know, all of 5 minutes and the first time of using the system. I think that's pretty impressive. Alrighty, so final thoughts on the Work Sharp sharpening system, specifically the Elite with the upgrade kit, which I think is definitely the one to go with because this thing is sick. It is really cool. Now, it's very close to what I thought it was going to be. It's not perfect, but it's pretty freaking close to perfect. And for the money, 120 bucks to be able to get, you know, a nice clean edge like this in about between, you know, give or take 5-10 minutes or so on softer budget oriented blade material, that's pretty sweet. Like I am genuinely impressed on how easy it is to not only set up, but manipulate, get used to, hand positions, obviously keeping your hand away from the live edge and not running into it. A major thing that I would like to warn about is just really pay attention on when your blade edge ends and where it begins, because you don't want to ride up and scratch up a bunch of shouldering material or the sharpening choil, or maybe if you have a knife design that doesn't have a sharpening choil and it's like edge and then handle immediately, you don't want to start grinding against your handle. And especially if you have an aluminum frame or aluminum scaled knife or even titanium, or God forbid some, you know, Timascus or something fancy like that. Just be careful when you're sharpening. Always start with something cheap and affordable. If you mess it up, you mess it up, but it's all the experience that you need to then make sure you do a better job than next time. Is this something that I would personally want? Yeah, absolutely. I would much rather lug this little thing around in its nice little case than my $600 something Wicked Edge system. I am not sponsored by any means to say anything good. You guys know that, I mean, if you have been watching my channel, you know, grow and develop, and me as an individual, you know, you can't really pay me to say anything good about stuff. I talk shit about anything and everybody, and I say a lot of good about people who genuinely deserve it and brands who genuinely deserve it. And what I've experienced this one time with this one product, did I get lucky? Maybe, but I'm gonna say it's a pretty sweet product and I do recommend it, especially if you just want to get a nice working edge and just get back to work. Start using your knife as a tool that it's meant to be. And maybe once you hone your skills on this particular setup, you can start throwing your more premium knives at it. Like, I'm not gonna take my Sebenza to this anytime soon, but I don't know, if it was my sharpening system, maybe in a month I would be taking my you know, $600 something knife to it, just because it's still a good sharpening system. There are a couple little things that could be improved, but really there aren't a whole lot that come to mind, at least engineering and design wise. I'm not that crafty of an individual either way, but for what it is, for the price, it's priced right, it makes sense, it's easy to use, it comes with damn near everything you need, and I'm gonna say it, but this is something that is a much better value than probably anything that Wicked Edge could possibly put out. So for what this thing is and where it stands right now in the market, this is a very, very impressive sharpening system, and this is proof of it. Again, it's just soft to budget steel, but it did its job. If I have, you know, something in my collection that is of a higher hardness, it would probably take a little bit longer, but 5-10 minutes to sharpen this blade material, it's about the same amount of time it would take on the Wicked Edge system as well. So the fact that this little thing can compete with one of the most expensive sharpening systems out there for a non-motorized angled sharpening system. I know there's Tormek and stuff like that, but obviously that has a motor and a giant stone and a water base and all that. I'm talking a dry angled sharpening system, no motor, just your manual power. This thing is a pretty sweet freaking product, and I will be linking it down in the description on my Amazon storefront. Eventually I'll probably end up buying my own unit because I think it's that cool. And if I'm going on a trip somewhere, and I know I'm going to be meeting up family or friends, and they know that I know how to sharpen well, and maybe they don't have the confidence to, I would much rather bring this than my Wicked Edge sharpening system, because it just makes sense and I can get real good edges on it for what it costs. So with that being said, I hope this was educational, informative in some way. If it was entertaining, let me know. But with that being said, leave a like down below if you did actually like it, and stay tuned for any new updates on the channel and just things moving forward. But I definitely appreciate all your guys' support and your patience, of course. And with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.